Oh, we are live, back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast with my main man, Mr. Prime Time, 313 David Dale. I am the sports prophet, ready for another hour of power of NFL talk, debates, discussions. Yo, my brother, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, man. How's the weather?
You know what? The weather, it's cool in the morning, man. This freaking winter is weird in Florida. I don't know what's going on, but it's like 40 degrees in the morning, 35 degrees in the morning. I know that's nothing to you, but gets to like 55, 60 during the day. Yeah, man, it's been cold. Yeah,
That's
I've had
crazy.
to like bundle up walking the dog, man.
You know what, man? I don't even know why I continue to ask this from week to week. You and your it's 40 degrees in the morning, it's 60. We probably got about another month or two before we start seeing like consistent 60s. We had a little break last week. Yeah, now it's right back into the 20s and 30s, and it snowed a little bit. It's supposed to snow a little bit more tonight. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, a lot of snow in the north and northeast. Yeah.
Oh my God. They're getting hammered. New York City had like 20 inches of snow in Central Park, man. That's insane.
Awful. God,
Go ahead, move back there. Move back there, man.
Yeah, right.
I dare you.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Move back there. Yeah, absolutely. Forget about it. That's what we say in New York. Forget about it. Not going to happen. No way. All right, guys, we have got a ton of shit to go over today. We're going to try to get it all in there. I mean, we got best coaching situations. We got the best complete rosters in the NFL, the quarterback carousel, notable free agents, worst quarterback situations, which team has the most pressure going into next year, 2026, likely to go from worst to first, whose window is opening and closing, and then we got draft needs, and of course, Prime. We start with NFL trivia. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. You've been doing good throughout the whole entire year.
I know. I think I'm like 2-2 in my last 4, so I need to get this one to get over 500.
But your problem is that you keep second guessing yourself. Go with your gut, man.
I can't help it, man. I can't help it. I had a rough childhood. No, oh man. Let's see if I can get over 500 for 5 weeks for the last 5
Let's see if we can get this one. Here we go. Which NFL team has the most Hall of Famers inducted from their franchise? So which NFL team has the most Hall of Famers?
Come on.
You can do it.
It can only be like 3. No, it could be 4. So it could be the Packers, it could be the Cowboys, it could be the Steelers, and it can be the Raiders. So let's see. I know Pittsburgh's got a ton of Hall of Famers. I know that whole Bradshaw era, they were, it was like 77 guys. I think their water boy made the Hall of Fame. All those teams. Oh man.
Who's he gonna go with?
Watch this.
Or that he mentioned another one. Which NFL team has the most Hall of Famers?
The Giants got a lot of Hall of Famers. I'm gonna just go with
that teams that have been around for a while, obviously.
The Colts. Let's see. Packers. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Steelers because they got a ton of guys in the Hall of Fame. I'm probably wrong, but I'm gonna just go with the Steelers.
Steelers, a great answer. I think they were second, but the Chicago Bears.
Really?
The Bears, yeah.
I'd have never guessed that. I'd have never guessed the Chicago
Bears. They've been around
Bears.
since like 1920 or something like that.
Yeah, I know, but just when I think of great Hall of Fame franchises, the Chicago Bears does not come to mind. I'm interested to see how many viewers out there when this is all said and done, or how many people in the chat would have said Chicago Bears for the most Hall of Fame football players from their franchise. That's crazy.
Yeah, Chicago Bears. Yeah, they've been around for a long time. They were the St. Louis Bears at one time, but yeah, that whole
How many they
franchise.
have?
You know what? I didn't actually look that up. I should have looked that up. Chicago
Well,
Bears,
no, how
but
many they have?
they
Wow.
do have more. Chicago Bears. How many Hall of Famers do they have? Let's see. Let's find out. Bears Hall of
We do
Famers.
this stuff in real time, ladies and gentlemen. This is real time research here on the Power 32 podcast.
That's right. 32
No
individuals
way.
in the Pro
I can't
Football.
even. That's. I mean, I'm not doubting. That just doesn't even sound. So what? Pittsburgh has like 25, 26.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's insane.
A little bit. Yeah, I thought it would have been a little bit more, but yeah,
Because like
32.
after Walter Payton and Dick Butkus, I mean, who can you made
That
Richard
whole
yeah,
1985 Bears team basically went
McMichaels and
Hall of Fame.
Duerson and all them. Yeah, it's I still would have never guessed them first, as obviously I didn't. So
Well, I hear you. I hear you. But you have been doing well throughout the year. We'll continue it. We'll do it next
damn it.
week. But we got a lot to get to over here today. Best coaching situations.
This is not a beer, by the way. This is a refreshing half and half beverage. This is not a beer or alcohol. Just see me with the can instead of the normal water bottle. So
You
anyway.
don't have to explain yourself. No, you can drink whatever you want. You're an old man. You can do what you want.
Right.
All right. So, best coaching situations in the league. There are a few, and I came up with a few. I'd like to hear what you got to say.
And before I know you just took a swig there, so I kind of tie the coaching situations into like the salary cap thing too, and I got a little interesting tidbit. So once we get into this, I want to throw something at you and see what you think.
All right.
So who's the first
So
one?
here we go. So I got
Uh-oh.
best coaching situations. The Chargers with Jim Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel coming in to run the offense. I think that's going to be a huge difference. And the Chargers, who have been kind of iffy on offense, I think they'll get better. Motion, things like that. Mike McDaniel, he's a really good mind, and him as an offensive coordinator, really good deal. Best coaching situations. The second one, I got the Patriots because they got Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, and they went to the Super Bowl. I know that maybe Denver would have beat them, but what a great coaching staff they got over there with defense and offense. And I'm going to surprise you with my third one. The Tennessee Titans.
Oh, wow.
Robert Saleh and Brian Dable run the offense. You got Saleh on defense, Dable on offense. Now, I'm not saying that they are the best team out there. They're going to win their division. But as far as coaching is concerned, yeah, I think they got a really good coaching staff.
Yeah, I think I like the Chargers. I think first of all, when I look at the Chargers, not only they have a solid coaching staff for Harbaugh and McDaniel, but they got like $80 million, $81 million to spend, and the salary cap, as the salary cap this year goes up to a little bit over $300 million, $303 million, something like that.
Wow.
So they actually have they got some money to spend. They have some holes to fill. I would like to see maybe another big play receiver to go along with Quentin Johnson. We'll see what happens with Amari and Hampton. We know that defense is going to be solid. They did this past year, as we documented very frequently here on the show, the issues with their offensive line. There are some really good free agent offensive linemen if they choose to go that way, but it looks like they have both of their guys coming back from injury. So, this could be a very, very solid team. But I think the most important aspect of that is the fact that they, like I said, they got about $80 million or so of cap flexibility. So
right,
I think that goes a lot into the like you say, the coaching situation. Mike McDaniel coming into a really good situation. Him and Harbaugh, the general manager, are going to sit down to see what kind of weapons they can get as they move forward with Mike Daniels' offensive philosophy. I would question to you though. Do you think that Harbaugh is just going to give McDaniel free reign of the offense and let him do what he wants to do? Or is Harbaugh gonna, do you think so? I kind of thought so too. I know, for some reason, people have this perception of Jim Harbaugh. He's this overbearing, over-controlling coach, and he's actually not. That's one of the reasons why a lot of his coaches, when he was at Michigan, end up with jobs in the NFL or a little bit higher profile jobs, because he kind of just lets guys do their thing. So,
yeah, I think that's a good one right there. You got any more?
Yeah, the Patriots. You said I like that. I'm still not a huge Josh McDaniels fan, but the stats kind of speak for themselves. We talked about what happened in the Super Bowl, or what didn't happen in the Super Bowl, regarding their lack of adjustments from what we saw, and that's just us being fans. But I do like that. I think Mike Vrabel will steady any ship, as he proved even with his tenure with the Titans. And Josh McDaniels has been that steady hand for the Patriots for a long, long time. So there's a lot of familiarity there. And, that kind of contributes a lot to the cohesion. They only got about $42 million to spend, as opposed to this time last year when they were, I believe, over $200 million. So they do have some holes to fill as well. Particularly, again, going back to the offense. You'd like to see another big play receiver. We're not sure what's going to happen with Stephon Diggs, and Hunter Henry's getting up there in age. So they have just some decisions to make offensively, and it's going to be interesting to see, A, what they draft, and B, what they do with that salary cap space. And as you talk about the Titans go into this season, I do kind of, now that you mention it and say it out loud, I do like the combination of Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh. I think they can do some good things there. They got 103. They're the only team right now, actually, that has over $100 million in cap space going into the season. The Raiders are second with 91, Chargers third with 81, the Jets 79, and the Commanders round out the top five with 73. But this is a little interesting tidbit now. We all know the cap is going up like $25-30 million a year for the next few years. This is an interesting tidbit. So let's fast forward to 2028. The Los Angeles Rams are due to have $310 million in cap space. Saints 295, Texans 290, Bears 288, Titans 284, Jets 278. There's probably, let me see real quick, do it 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the bottom 10 will have over $100 million, and you'll never guess who next year and the year after will be last but not least in salary cap space. It's your San Francisco 49ers. So in 2028, San Francisco is projected to have about $75 million. Next year, they're only at $10 million, and they're actually, you do dead money and all that, they're $4 million in the hole. So San Francisco, for the next couple of years, their salary cap ramifications might come back and bite them. But that just kind of threw $310 million in salary cap space.
That's crazy.
Well, you figure you got all these, you got Adams' contract coming off the books, you got Stafford's contract coming off the books. You got some. So I mean, what do you even do with you talk about great coaching situations. What do you even do with $310 million in cap space?
Draft good players. That's what you got to do.
Get them cheap.
Free agents. You still got Puka. You got Corum. Kyron Williams. They have a decent offensive line, but they're gonna have to retool a little bit. Matt Stafford's not gonna play forever, and some people are wondering if they're gonna draft a quarterback this year, with Stafford maybe only being around for a couple more years. It's possible. We'll see what happens. All right, I like that. Most complete rosters. All right, tell me if you agree. We're going to go down the line. Rams added the top 10. Do you agree?
I would maybe not most complete. I still think that they, their secondary gets a little bit exposed at times, but I mean, offensively, you couldn't ask for a better combination. Like you mentioned, Puka and Devontae, Kyron. I think Tyler Higbee is a free agent. But you still got Matt Stafford. And their offensive line is one of the better offensive lines in the league. got some really studs on defense, some guys that you mentioned you've been talking about for a couple of years with these young guys. So I would say maybe 85% or so, because like I say, I would like to see them beef up their secondary a little bit.
All right, no doubt. All right, good answer. How about Seattle? Won the Super Bowl.
I think Seattle probably has the most. I would probably rank them probably number one right now. Just based on what we saw in the Super Bowl. We saw with Sam Darnold. We know JSN. I mean, if anything, you may get them another weapon, at wide receiver, but they're as complete as a roster as you're going to realistically get. Nobody's at 100%, but they showed us this season, and particularly in the Super Bowl, that defense is as good as it gets. Sam Darnold, some people may say that that's the biggest question mark for them going into the season, or going into next season. Can he do it again? I absolutely think he can, all things being considered. But yeah, I'd probably put them, if not number one, maybe like 1A, because their roster is as solid and as complete as anybody's in the league.
Yeah, sure is, no doubt. How about the Denver Broncos? They top 10?
I'd put them probably top 10, but my thing with the Broncos is their wide receiver core. I would like to see, their offensive line is good.
They still got the number one overall seed.
That's where kind of like the confusion lies, because did they do it with their offense? Again, was it Bo Nix or was it their defense? And for the most part, for a lot of this past NFL season, a lot of people thought that it was their defense basically carrying them, to that number one seed. But Bo Nix had a little bit to do with that as well. Not 100% sold on Courtland Sutton. I forgot their number two. But Courtland Sutton, I just in particular, because he screwed me over so many games in fantasy this past season. But I'd probably put them, maybe in the lower half of the top 10, maybe the lower tier, maybe like 7 or 8, simply because I think the wide receiver core, big playability going into next season is going to be a question for them.
Yeah, Tim Patrick, the guy.
Yeah. Former Detroit Lion Tim Patrick, by the way.
Yep, there you go. All right, how about the New England Patriots, who were in the Super Bowl?
Again, it's like a common theme here. It's the wide receiver. I think this is going to be like a common theme throughout most teams in the league. As teams look to get younger at wide receiver, they look to get cheaper at wide receiver. Most teams aren't going to follow the Cincinnati Bengals philosophy when it comes to wide receivers, paying two guys $30-40 million a year. That's just not feasible, and it's really counterproductive. I would give the New England, I'd probably give them maybe the lower half of the top 10 as well, simply because I love their defense. I love their running game, but I'm a little bit concerned about their receiving core, like I say, with an aging and not as productive Stephon Diggs and an aging Hunter Henry. But, they're, as always, they're only one, we got a bunch of free agent wide receivers. There's more names probably than substances. A lot of these guys get up in age, but I'd like to see them, again, beef up their receiving core a little bit, but I'd still put them in the top 10, maybe the lower half of the top 10.
Yeah, we'll talk about some free agents in a little while, no doubt about it. What do we got? The Chargers, I believe, are a top 10 roster in the NFL. What do you think?
I like the Chargers, but the concern for them is going to be depth on the offensive line. They are a team right now that is probably the biggest, in a lot of people's eyes, the biggest disappointment in the league based on what happened last year. I'm not going to ever count a Jim Harbaugh team out, but I do, they got 25 free agents of their own, including like Khalil Mack, Najee Harris, Zion Johnson. You talk about a couple guys on their offensive line, Trevor Penning, they got Keenan. So they got some free agents that they have to deal with, but I think what makes their roster not necessarily next level, but a top 10 roster is what you alluded to at the beginning of the show, and that's their coaching staff. I think their coaching staff is going to be able to turn water into wine going into next season, and I think the Chargers are going to redeem themselves. And I as we get later on in the offseason to start doing preseason picks and all that stuff, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with with where you and I place the Chargers going into next season. So yeah,
There
I
you
can
go.
do that. I can buy
Yep.
that.
Chargers look had a really good defense last year. Again, Mike McDaniel coming in to help out the offense. We'll see how it goes. All right, I still think the Eagles are a top 10, well, not offense, but total team in the NFL.
And there's my one beat. You know, I've been singing the praises of Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles and the way that they conduct business. I've been talking about this for the longest time now. I love what they're able to do every year, whether it's adding a Jalen Phillips in the middle of the season to try to get over the hump, whether it's the way that, for all of the talk, I don't think so much Nick Sirianni navigates all these issues. I think it's more Howie Roseman, but I just like his philosophy. They're aggressive. It's almost like the Rams when you used to say F them picks. I think they're the one team in the entire NFL that I would have confidence in my general manager to do whatever it takes to go out there and put a winner on the field. And, the Super Bowls, the playoff appearances, the division championships. I mean, all that stuff speaks for itself. In spite of what people think of Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman goes out there year after year, and he's trying his hardest. He does everything he can to put a winning team out there on the field, and it's been really good. It's been really good to be an Eagles fan over the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, they've had a pretty.
And that's coming from a Giants fan. That pains me to say that.
Yeah, right. All right. How about the Buffalo Bills? They a top 10 team?
As far as rostered, again, they need to get Josh Allen some help. And a lot of people, I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. You're a huge Josh Allen fan. But the one thing that I think that bothers me when people start talking about him is that they forget all of the things that he brings to that team and what he means to that team. He's doing this basically with smoke and mirrors. He doesn't have an elite wide receiving core. Got a couple of good tight ends. Their defense is good, but I wouldn't call them great, in relation to some of the other teams we've talked about. But that offense, as long as they have Josh Allen on that team, I would think that you could probably consider them, much like the Kansas City Chiefs, a top 10, maybe top 12 roster. But as far as going into next season, I just think that, again, it goes back to, needing some wide receiver help. Just playmaker in general. It doesn't even have to be a wide receiver, just a big play guy in general. And I think that's one of the missing pieces that are going to get Buffalo over the hump.
All right, let's do a few more quickly. We got the Jaguars, who turned their entire season around. Mm-hmm. Went from 4-13 to 13-4, made the playoffs, got out in the first round by those Buffalo Bills. What do you think?
I like the Jags. My concern with the Jags is that they're $13 million in the hole from a salary cap perspective. So there's really not a lot unless they do something like restructure Trevor Lawrence's deal or, make some cuts, which I'm sure they will pretty soon. Anytime a team is already that far in the hole, $13 million, you say, well, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of hamstrings you. And now what's going to happen is it's going to take the free agency thing pretty much out of the equation. And now we're going to see how good Liam Cohen does when it comes to drafting, because they're going to have to get very creative in how they continue to improve this team. But I like Jacksonville. I know you're very high on Jacksonville, and we know somebody else is very high on Liam Cohen in Jacksonville as well. But I'd probably put them, if I were going to give a number to Jacksonville, I'd probably put them at like number 8 as far as like having a top 10, as far as a complete roster. Yeah.
Top 10. What about the Chicago Bears?
Oh man, what's not to like about the Bears? They got everything, and now they're going to be even more aggressive because they got a taste. They got a playoff victory. They got a taste of what it's like to be in that spotlight, in the graphics, so to speak, as the year went on. I would put them probably top 5, top 6 rosters in the league, right? They have everything, and they're only going to get better. And they got a decent amount of cap space. So they have the opportunities to go out there maybe I take that back. I think they're one of the ones in the red too. But the roster that they currently have going into next season, there's no reason that Chicago can't improve and maybe win a second playoff game. And who knows, man, you might see the Chicago Bears, much as we were surprised earlier about the 32 Hall of Famers. you might see the Chicago Bears in the NFC Championship game next year. That's how much confidence I have in Ben Johnson in that roster right now.
I'm saying, man, watch out. The Chicago Bears, really good.
The Bears.
Better, great head coach. Yeah, the Bears. Where are they? I think they're in the middle of the pack as far as 2026 salary cap is concerned. I'm trying to look it up right now.
I think they're like $4 million. They're $4 million in the hole, I think. Depends on what source you're looking at, but the source I'm looking at right now, they are $4 million under, and then like 8.3 million in like effective cap space. And then the thing that's going to hurt the Bears, that doesn't really hurt the Bears, is that they're less than $1 million in dead money right now. So you know, they're in a decent situation, but I think that, you know, as they're going to draft well, they really need to nail this draft in order for my proclamation to come to its fruition. So
right. All right, last one for you. The Green Bay Packers, top 10?
No.
I
don't like I don't like their receiving core. This kind of is like the opposite of what I've been saying. I don't like their receiving core simply because they still drop too many passes. Romeo Doubs needs to take off that big guardian cap thing that he wears.
He might be gone, Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, he is. I think. Yeah. So they got a lot of guys leaving, and I'm not. You know, I was kind of razzing you a little bit over this past season about your lack of love for Jordan Love. But now that I sit and think about it, man, it's the guy can't stay on the field. You know, and they got 20 free agents right now that they have to address, including Trayvon Diggs, Quay Walker. You know, the biggest thing for them, Prophet, is that they're going to potentially lose Malik Willis.
That's right.
So
that's right. And with Jordan Love getting hurt, like you say,
I'm not.
You need Malik Willis, but he's probably going to be started somewhere.
I'm not sold on the Packers being the top 10 roster. There's probably some teams that may surprise you. You know, if you were to, you know, as far as teams that you would put ahead of the Packers as far as the roster. I'm just not sold on the Packers. I actually think they may take a step back this year.
All right. There you go. All right, let's hit up the quarterback carousel. We went over it last week. The Dolphins are going to need a quarterback. The Jets, Raiders, Vikings, Cardinals, and the Browns. Those are the teams we pretty much know of, even though maybe the Browns go with Shedeur Sanders. You know, we'll see what happens. But there are a lot of quarterbacks out there now, not necessarily top tier quarterbacks, but like you said, Malik Willis going to be gone, maybe to Miami with Jeff Hafley. You know, his former D coordinator over there in Green Bay. You got Kyler Murray, you got Tua, you got Mac Jones, Justin Fields, maybe Tyler Huntley, maybe Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins is going to be released. Maybe Marcus Mariota gets out there. Gardner Minshew is going to be available. Mitchell Trubisky, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Wow. Aaron Rodgers, real quick. If he sticks around, is he better for the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Minnesota Vikings?
Oh, man. I mean, there's a name you forgot that as I scroll down the list. There's a name.
Who'd I forget?
Should I do it to him, ladies and gentlemen? What's his name again? I forgot his name last week. It eluded me. Then I remembered all of a sudden. It's Jimmy Garoppolo's out there on the free agents.
Oh, God. I didn't include him purposely.
I know.
There's no reason for him to be in there. What's the matter with you? Why do you continue to bring up this guy's name? Do you do it to piss me off, or do you have, like, an infatuation?
No, I just like to see you go ballistic every time I mention his name. What did he do? What did he do? He led you guys to didn't he lead you guys to a Super Bowl?
No, he didn't lead it. He was part of the team. He was like the 8th or 9th player.
Come on. Jimmy Garoppolo.
But you're going to tell me Sam Darnold was like the number one guy on did he lead the Seattle
Oh, my God.
No,
I love my job.
I don't want to hear it.
Hey, Jeff Driscoll's out there, too, by the way. I mean, if you know, Kyle Allen. Daniel Jones is a free agent, too, by the way. But getting back to your original question, I would absolutely, if I'm Aaron Rodgers and if I'm the Vikings, I absolutely kick the tires on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look just from a roster standpoint, you talk about a top 10 roster minus the quarterback. Minnesota's ready-made. Aaron Rodgers could come in and potentially do a Brett Favre and get that team, 13, 14 wins and potentially back in the NFC title game. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy and all things considered, yeah, I love you, guy, but I'm going to where I can potentially win. Plus, Kevin O'Connell's a really good coach. You got two really good receivers. I don't know what they're going to do with TJ Hawkinson, if they're going to re-sign him or not. But even still, with the rest of that roster, that defense, and Aaron Rodgers, I mean, now now you're cooking with gas. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I definitely would look at going to the Vikings as opposed to the Steelers. Plus, you get to play a bunch of games indoors.
Seemed like you want to go there last year. Like you mentioned, two really good wide receivers. They have a couple of backs. But yeah, a really good team. Brian Flores led defense. I maybe they can make noise. Who knows? Very interesting.
I mean, what do you think? If you're Aaron Rodgers, what do you? I mean, right now you got JJ McCarthy on your squad. You got you're not going to re-sign Carson Wentz. You're not going to re-sign John Wolford or Brett Rippon or what's that Brosmer guy. You're not going to you're probably not going to re-sign any of those. I mean, so. Hell, if I'm Minnesota, why not kick the tires and take a chance? They got about 19 or 20 free agents on their team that they got to sign, potentially, but they're not big value guys. So, they could pony up some money and give Aaron Rodgers a 1-year, $50 million deal to kind of come in and see what you can do.
Well, that's the thing. You can get him on the cheap, but what does that mean for J.J. McCarthy?
At this point, if you're Minnesota and you're starting to hear Justin Jefferson rumbling about what could have been and the whole Sam Darnold situation, I mean, this is one player is not bigger than the team, and if I'm Minnesota, I'm really going to listen, because what you don't want to run the risk of is now Justin Jefferson becomes one of those disgruntled receivers where he starts hitting around for trades. It has the A.J. Brown mindset, kind of becomes a distraction. So if I can get Aaron Rodgers for a year and kind of just go all in and see what we can do, J.J. McCarthy's 15 years old. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he's making a lot of money. He'll be fine. Hold my clipboard, young man, for a year. We'll see what this leads to, because I honestly don't see. I mean, do you see Aaron Rodgers playing more than one more season, especially if he went to the Vikings?
No, he'll be 42, I think, in December, so probably not, no.
Yeah, so like I say, we got, there's 760 some odd free agents out there, as we cited last week, so you got a lot of guys that you could choose from if you really feel that you need some help. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers puts Minnesota right back in the playoff hunt, and JJ McCarthy just had to sit and hold my beer.
There you go. Dolphins, maybe Malik Willis, maybe Kyler Murray, possibly. It seems it kind of fits over there. The Jets, maybe they go with, Ty Simpson from what do you call it?
From Alabama.
Alabama, thank you. Couldn't get it off the top of my head right there. Raiders, going Fernando Mendoza. Vikings, Mac Jones. I don't know. Did they bring Kirk Cousins back? Mitchell Trubisky. Tua? I mean, Tua did a really good job when he had two good wide receivers, but I don't know. I mean, look, Miami's going to have to pay a hell of a lot of money when they do trade him, if they do trade him. $99 million against cap.
Crazy.
Who's paying for that? Come on.
Exactly. Well, you also have the option, you got Fernando Mendoza, you got Ty Simpson, you got Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU, who's probably projected like maybe a third round, fourth round. You got Drew Aller coming out of Penn State. You got Carson Beck coming out of Miami. You got, if you want to go you got Taylor Green out of Arkansas. You got some decent quarterbacks. I think Cade Klubnik is predicted like a 5th round pick. I think he may end up being one of the surprises of the draft. So, I mean, if you're going to go that way, you got some guys to choose from. But the problem is that I don't think the Vikings profit are in the mood right now to be patient, because who knows how long this roster is going to be.
That's
top
right.
10, top 12 roster, and you want to get all you can out of it. So I would say just go with Aaron Rodgers for a year. You're not going to sign Russell Wilson. You're not going to do anything stupid like that. You're not going to sign. What are you going to do? Bring Daniel Jones back? So,
jeez, no.
Just take your.
You're not going to bring Kirk Cousins back.
No, you're not.
Minshew's not going to do it
no.
for you. Aaron Rodgers,
Mariota, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor. You can bring Joe Flacco back off the couch.
Yeah, Mac Jones may not be the worst idea. I mean,
no, but I didn't think you guys would want to get rid of him. I mean, if San Francisco's willing to talk, absolutely, you put Mac Jones in the mix. But I like you said last week. You guys might want to keep him for an insurance policy.
I would love to keep him. It's going to be hard to keep him because I think teams are going to be throwing numbers at them, draft picks, players, whatever it may be. Mac Jones, I mean, I'm not saying he's necessarily a first-round pick, even though he was once upon a time, but he has been playing better. I don't know. We'll see.
But here's a weird thing. Who thought going into the offseason that Mac Jones and Malik Willis would be dominating the headlines as far as the quarterbacks that would be, on some people's wish list? That's crazy.
How about that? I know. Yeah, you never know. From year to year, things happen. Crazy. But yeah, a lot of quarterbacks out there. Not as many spots. We'll see what happens. Maybe some guys end up retiring this year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? All right. Worst quarterback situation. I was going with the Browns because, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, but the Jets, man, Tyrod Taylor, Brady Cook, and what? I mean, that's really bad, Prime.
So, looking at I won't give all my big board stuff away on this show, but if I'm the New York Jets, I absolutely have to look into drafting a quarterback. Or do you contact the San Francisco 49ers and say, hey, look, what would it take for us to get Mac Jones? What would it take, Malik Willis? Malik Willis, I think, is going to probably be the most intriguing piece because he's the guy that you can actually get because he's a free agent. You don't have to trade or anything like that for him. So he's probably the most realistic. The problem is, Prophet, is that the rest of the coaching staff, do you have any confidence in the Jets coaching staff that they would be able to go out there and develop anybody at quarterback? Anybody?
Not yet. No, I really don't. I don't know who they're going to bring in.
Does Aaron Rodgers go back to? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is not going to happen. But
do you take a flyer on a Kirk Cousins and a state just get something that may potentially get you out of the basement in the AFC East? I mean, their quarterback, it's bad. The Jets are bad.
Jets are bad. Look, they could do a couple of things. They have 2 first-round picks. They have the 2nd overall pick, which I doubt they'll take a quarterback, but they get the 16th overall pick. Maybe they take Ty Simpson, or maybe they use those 2 picks to build up, their roster because it's really bad, and go after a Mac Jones or something like that. Kyler Murray, I don't know if that's the right answer right there, but there are quarterbacks out there to be had. So we'll see if they actually go ahead and go and do that. I don't know. We'll see. So we got the worst quarterback situations. We got which team has the most pressure in 2026. I think we're going to agree on this one.
There's actually, in my mind, there's 3 that immediately pop in my head. That'd be the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Detroit Lions. So
Lions, okay, all right, not making
absolutely,
the playoffs.
Absolutely. They really, really took a step back, and the Lions got some holes to fill. And the problem with the Lions is that they don't have a hell of a lot of money to do it. A lot of people up here are starting to lose confidence in Brad Holmes simply because he doesn't have that mentality. He's like the antithesis of what we talked about. Yes, antithesis. That's word of the day here on Power 32. He's the antithesis of what we talked about earlier with Howie Rosen. He just refuses. We're going to develop our guys, draft our guys. The problem is that you hit on a lot of your drafts. So what happens is that 4 years after that draft, you got to. That's why not JMO and Laporta and Jameer, all these guys, now all of a sudden you got to pay at once, and your roster somebody asked me today at work, do I think that the Detroit Lions peak when they lost to you guys in the NFC Championship game? And as much as it pained me to say what I said, what if they lost to you guys in the NFC Championship game? They come back, they win 15 games, they lose to their asses kicked at home.
Yeah.
Then last year you don't make the playoffs. So 50s or not, you can say, well, that was an improvement from the year before, but you didn't make the playoffs. You lost in the first round after that, and then you didn't make the playoffs last year. So I think there's a lot of pressure, not necessarily on Dan Campbell. Tim is one of our warm seat guys last necessarily hot. Brad Holmes needs to change. And it's like that with all Detroit general managers up here. They refuse to go all in. We want to develop the young guys. It's like, you know what? Your roster is right there. And now the problem, Prophet, with the Lions is that you have so many potentially holes to fill on your offensive line, which was what the bread and butter of this team was when they were kicking people's ass. As far as the Bills, it's like, okay, Josh Allen, you know, you're one of the best quarterbacks of our generation, blah, blah, blah. Are you going to get it done? Are you at least going to get to the Super Bowl to give your team an opportunity to win? And then every year, as we talk about always with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, those two guys are like, it's the same scenario for both of them. All the hype, all the MVPs, all the stats, all the regular season, this, that, and the other, and it comes to the playoffs, and neither one of those guys have been to the Super. Sam Darnold has won a Super Bowl before Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Let that
Yeah. How about that? It did happen, but it needs a team to do it. And you know what? They had a great team. Like you said, maybe the best team, the best roster in the NFL, as we were going over it earlier. All right. Likely to go from last to first. I was going to go with your Lions, but I think the Bears are really good. How about this one? The New Orleans Saints. That division is kind of messy.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Shock is looking pretty good. If they keep Chris Olave, they can make a couple of moves over there. The Saints, you know, they got a little bit cap room. Let me see where they are on the cap space over here.
They're actually like $8 million in the hole.
Oh, they're $8 million.
Yeah, because remember last year they went into the league. Last year they went into the league being one of the worst. I think they had absolutely the worst cap space situation. Next year, the projection is I think they'll be like $150 over the cap. So maybe not this year for them, but maybe next year when they have more money to spend. And then like I say, going into 2028, if you look at the potential projections, they're at $295 million over the cap. So maybe not this year for the Saints. However, to your point, that division is trash. We saw Baker Mayfield and the Bucs fall off. We're not 100% confident in what Michael Penix is going to do down there, even with Kevin Stefanski.
Oh.
And we're not. Who am I missing out of that? The Bucs. Oh, the Panthers. The Panthers, I think, caught lightning in a bottle last year. Bryce Young, I don't think, and I'm sure you agree with this. Bryce Young is never going to be that top 5, top 8, top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
So that division is as wide open right now as any division in the NFL. And you know, Tyler Shuck, who knows, man? Who knows? We've seen strange things happen in that division over the years.
Hey,
you know,
Cameron Jordan had a lot of good things to say about how Shuck thinks they can go. Is he just saying that? I don't know. Maybe, but maybe he actually believes it. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we got a lot to get to. We still have whose window is opening. All right, so a team that maybe didn't do so good last year, their team could be opening. Maybe they got a good quarterback, a good coach, a better defense, whatever it may be. Whose window is opening in the 2026 season?
So I'm going to ask you, I got 8 teams, and we can kind of do this rapid fire for the sake of trying to get to some other stuff. So I got 8 teams that the window is either opening for them or closing for them, and I just kind of want your opinion. So we're going to start off with one of the teams we just talked about, the Buffalo Bills. Is there Super Bowl opportunity opening still? Is the window still open, or is it starting to close for them?
No, the window's still open. You still got one of the best players in the league in Josh Allen. They're going to make some moves. They're going to try to get some defensive pieces. You know, the problem with them is they have been hurt. They've been injured year after year after year, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. If if they can stay healthy, absolutely they're a contender.
So let's go to somebody who a little bit more of a challenge here. Let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. Is their window opening or is it closing?
George Pickens helps the window opening. They signed Javonte Williams back to play with them. He did a good job last year.
Fantasy hero.
That
fantasy football hero. Let me call it fantasy football hero. That guy carried us through a second place.
But that defense, man, I don't know. I mean, Quentin Williams, I like the addition over there. Logan Wilson, I like that addition. But their secondary is a problem. I don't really see them contending. If anything, I thought it would have happened last year. CeeDee Lamb is a great wide receiver as well. Don't get me wrong, they will score points, but they're going to let up a lot of points. So I'm not really big on Dallas this year, bro.
Yeah, I
think their window is closing.
So let's stay in that division. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, who've had a bunch of success the last few years, as well documented. But is that window still open for them, or is that window starting to close?
Closing, man. A.J. Brown's going to be gone. Saquon Barkley is not going to get better. Their offensive line is old. All right, Jalen Hurts don't want to run the ball anymore. Their defense, yeah, they got a pretty good defense, but at times they can get scored upon. So if anything, I like their defense for the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think their window was really closing. And last year showed that a lot. I know they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but the Philadelphia Eagles, man, they got a good roster overall for the most part. But I don't think that they have what it takes to get to the top anymore. I really don't.
So, an addendum to that, does Nick Sirianni make it through this season? And if he does make it through the season, does he go into 2027 as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Ooh, Nick Sirianni.
If they finish, let's say they go 10-6 and miss the playoffs, even if they go 10-7 and miss the playoffs, or 10-7 and make the playoffs and flame out in the first round, is he the coach going into 2027?
Yeah, he'll remain there because
really?
He's done a job consistently. He's got to the playoffs every year. And, again, their big problem is that they keep going through offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator. It's got to stop. You got to get some stability over there. So I don't think Nick Sirianni is necessarily the problem. He gets along with his players for the most part. But, no, I don't think he's going anywhere because I think that Philly, they'll be good enough if 10-7 is a good enough record and going to the playoffs probably. I think I'll stick around.
Wow, that's like anti everything that I was thinking. Anyway, next team. Next team, the Chicago Bears. Is their window opening, or is it? I'm sure it's not closing, but is it opening or is it wide open for this team? Consider based on what we saw last year.
Wide open sesame. Chicago Bears. They're going to get nothing but better and better and better and better. Caleb Williams is going to get better. They got a great head coach, obviously, Ben Johnson. They're going to add more players to the roster. They're going to have to make good, obviously draft choices and everything like that. But they're a young team that's going to keep getting better. You got Caleb Williams going into his third year. Luther Burden, Rome Odunze. You got really good players. Maybe they get a running back in this draft. Maybe they get Jeremiah Love. I don't know if that's possible. Who knows if he lasts that
projected to go kind of high, but I mean, yeah, anything's possible.
Anything's possible. You never know. A lot of teams don't like to draft running backs early, but I'm kind of thinking Kansas City maybe in that era right there. But yeah, not necessarily sure. But yeah, Chicago Bears, man. Oh man, window wide open. Like we're talking Super Bowl, bro.
Wow. Yeah, and that's like I said, that's kind of what I alluded to earlier. Yeah, actually, Notre Dame actually has two really good running backs you talked about, but they also got Jadarian Price, who's like a projected maybe second, third, early third round guy. There's some decent running backs. Don't be fooled. A lot of ladies and gentlemen, when you guys start looking at these big boards and all these mock drafts, as we look, we will over the next couple months until April. Don't be fooled by the number on the side of the guy's name, whether he's 100th or 80th or this, that, and the other. There's some, unless you really follow college football the way that I do, you don't really understand how good this running back class is. And you'll see a lot of guys with, 3-digit numbers next to their name. Oh, this guy's a 4th round, 5th round pick, this and that and the other.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some really,
but
really
that
good
don't matter.
It absolutely does, especially with the running backs.
We've seen really good running backs get drafted in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, even 6th round. I mean, guys who may go a little bit earlier, like Emmett Johnson, Demond Claiborne may go a little bit earlier. Jadarian Price is a guy that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
He's really high up on the board over there. Jonah Coleman from Washington. So you got a lot of really good running backs out there, like you mentioned, and they could be drafted later on while teams get, their edge rushers and their offensive linemen and things like that.
And watch out for Kaytron Allen from Penn State.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's the second coming of Saquon Barkley, but that guy is kind of special. So let's see where we're. So next team, the Chargers. Is their window open, or is it starting to close even before they were able to? They're kind of like the burglar that got like 1 foot in the window, breaking into your house, and the dog kind of got him before he was even able to, to take your computer mouse. So what do you think of the Chargers? Is their window open or closed?
Now, Khalil Mack won't allow that to happen. He'll get that burglar right out of that house, right through the window, no problem. Khalil Mack's still doing his thing. Their defense really good. We talked about the Chargers earlier. I think their window is open. Mike McDaniel coming over there to help out Jim Harbaugh. I really like what they got going on. You did mention their guard position, Zion Johnson, Kai Becton. So maybe they have to improve over there. But if they can get, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater back next year, if they can play, those are your left and right tackle. That's what you need, because you're right about the Chargers. Their offensive line was not great this year, but I do think they have enough players and good enough coaching for their window to be open, even in a tough division with Denver. And let's see if Kansas City comes back.
So let me ask you this. So they probably won't bring back Najee Harris. Do you bring back Keenan Allen probably is, going into his 14th season when the do you bring back Khalil Mack at 35 years old, potentially making $18-20 million? Do you bring him back?
You got to negotiate with the guy and try to say, listen, let's knock it down to like $12 million, and we'll give you incentives as you go along. You get enough stacks, tackles for us, whatever it may be like that. But Khalil Mack played really well last year. I don't have any reason to believe that he's not going to play well this upcoming season. He's been on a good defense. I know Justin Minter is gone right now, all right, but they have that intact. They have a really good defense. They got good players. Khalil Mack, look, he has not lost a step. He's playing really well. So keep him, let him go, let him play, let him be the captain of that defense.
And real quick, the final 3. So I have Detroit, Baltimore, and Denver. So is Detroit closing, open, or opening? Baltimore, same thing, and then Denver. I kind of think what I know you're going to say with Denver, but
so we got Detroit. I think Detroit's window is closing a little bit because mostly that division, Chicago Bears, maybe Minnesota gets better. We'll see what happens. But Detroit, Jared Goff, he's not going to get any better. Jahmyr Gibbs, if you pay him, you're not going to be able to pay other people. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're paying a lot of money to right now. Jameson Williams, come on.
And they're like $10 million under the cap right now too. So they're not in a great cap situation as going into. And then next year they'll probably be, again, 70 million or so over the cap. But this year is not a good cap year for the Lions. And like you say, they got some guys that they got to sign over the next year or so in order for them to keep that roster going. But so you say their window's closing?
Yeah, closing.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And it's a shame because it's been one of the best 3-4 year stretches in the history of Lions football.
No
and
kidding.
How ironic is it that the San Francisco, the last time I think they made it to the championship game before 91 was when they lost to you guys on that Monty Clark Eddie Murray praying on the sideline, please make the kick, and they lost to you guys. And yeah, that's I just showed my age right there. But
man, look at you with the memory over
yeah,
there. Look at the noggin over there.
That hurts. That still hurts. But yeah, so I kind of agree with you. Maybe not closed, but closing unless something drastic happens.
Closing, yeah.
And then we got Baltimore. What do you think about Baltimore?
No, I still think the window is open. I don't love the Todd Monken hiring necessarily, but Lamar Jackson, he's going to have to do something. He's going to have, look, he's got $74 million on the cap this year. He is going to have to cut that back so they can sign guys like Tyler Linderbaum, maybe Kyle Van Noy coming back. They have players that they need to sign, and I believe that they will. Lamar Jackson, look, he's made his money. He's made a lot of money. Two-time MVP. If he wants to go down in NFL history as one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever lived, you got to win a Super Bowl. To do that, you got to cut down on your, on how much money you make. I couldn't get the words out right there on how much money he's making. So he's going to have to take a salary cut, and I think that he will because he is a team player and he loves his teammates.
So as we look over the Ravens free agency situation, you got Tyler Linderbaum. I think he only made like what, $3, $4, $5 million last year. He's a free agent, and he's probably gonna get more, closer to the average, which is 17, 18, 19 million bucks for a guy at his position, considering
maybe
especially what he what he brings to the table. You're not signing DeAndre Hopkins unless you're not going to sign him for the $5 million. You may, if he wants to take another user-friendly $3-4 million, you may do that. Draymond Jones, do you bring him back? I think, guy 29 years old, a guy that kind of was not a central piece, but a good piece, a depth piece for them. He could potentially be making $8-10 million. So as far as my opinion, as far as opening and closing, I think it's closing.
Okay.
I think the way that Lamar Jackson, he was hurt this year. Baltimore had some built-in circumstances and excuses, I guess. New coach going into next year. I think I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach on Baltimore, but right now, this moment, I think their Super Bowl window's closing, and we close out with the Denver Broncos. What do you think about them?
The Denver Broncos, and their window's open, man.
But is it wide open sesame like you were saying earlier about the Bears?
I don't want
to. Or is it open just enough to let like a nice cool breeze come in without might let in a few mosquitoes? A squirrel might pop in every now and then.
The AFC's got a few good teams, so I don't want to say Denver window's closing. It's still open, no doubt about it. Bo Nix got to get a little better. They got to get better at wide receiver. You mentioned that before. Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. You'd like to do a little better than that. Evan Ingram. Now you got J.K. Dobbins. You got to wonder if he's going to come back. R.J. Harvey. But overall, they have a really good team, a really good defense. I believe they would have won that game last year against the New England Patriots if Bo Nix had been the quarterback. Jarrett Stidham, sorry, buddy, you couldn't get it done. Denver's window is definitely open. They are a really good team. They're really well coached. They got a good quarterback. They got a good defense. They got a lot of stuff they really want. So I think they can contend, not just next year, but going into the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 years.
Wow, and I kind of feel that way. And a lot of it's gonna depend on the continued progression of Bo Nix. A lot of it's gonna depend on how long Sean Payton stays there as their head coach, which is kind of like a factor, like an X factor type thing. So it'll be very interesting to see. So that will open and close, brought to you by the Power 32 podcast.
There you go.
As always.
Loving it. Power 32, doing our thing, baby. Rocking and rolling, keeping it going. We got a few more things to talk about over here. Man, we have so much. We can't do everything in this show, but we do have a lot. So let's get to some news and notes before we get to big deal, no deal. JSN wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL and believes he deserves to be so.
We didn't see that coming. No.
Yeah, right, really. I mean, all right. So he had one spectacular year. He had a great year, almost 1,800 yards or whatever it was, 10 touchdowns. Really good year. But I like Puka. I like Jamar Chase. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Justin Jefferson. Does JSN deserve to be the highest paid quarterback, wide receiver in the NFL?
Well, here's the problem. He's had the season that you just mentioned, the stats. He has something that none of those other guys have, and that's a Super Bowl ring. And he did it. He did it basically being the only guy. You know, he was you knew going into the game, this is the guy we got to worry about. And he was still smoking guys on a week in, week out basis. You know, Puka had Devontae, you got Chase and Higgins, Justin Jefferson and Addison, Pickens and CD, AJ and Devontae. So he basically, I won't say he did it by himself, but the fact that your game plan as a defensive coordinator was stop that guy over there, and you still couldn't do it to the tune of 1,800 plus yards. And he's got a Super Bowl ring. You know what? You say, he only had one good season, but as we've seen in the past, especially when it comes to quarterbacks, and skill players, it only takes one season. And just the highest paid in the league, what would that put him? 30 million? 35 million bucks?
No, Jamar Chase is making like 38 or 39 million.
I don't
put him at 40.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 30. I'll give you 30, 32 million, and we'll go from there.
Well, maybe that won't make him the highest play.
No, I would put him, especially when you're only making like $5 million, $3-4 million right now. So
Steve-O's saying pay him $200 million. Get out.
I mean, but to Steve-O's defense, and I can't believe I'm saying that. No, I like Steve-O. He's my guy. But in Steve-O's defense, if you're first of all, you have the cap space to do it. You're $61 million under the cap right now. You have the cap space to do it. Yeah. So if not him, who are you going to pay? You still got Sam Darnold on a friendly $35, $33 million deal.
Right.
You're not really paying a ton of guys on that team. So if that means keeping your best player happy, if that means keeping your best player on your team and productive for years to come, what 5 years, $200 million, 4 years, you're not going to give him 50 million, but yeah, 5 years, $200 million. I mean, I'd probably trim that to 40. If I'm going to pay him $40 million a year, as Steve-O's suggesting, I would probably do a 4-year deal instead of a 5-year deal. That way I'm not locked in when the guy is starting to lose a step or two. But
true,
I personally would pay him somewhere in the 30s, but I absolutely see a world where Seattle just ponies up and says, you know what, here you go.
No, Big Nine is saying, being a 49er fan, yes, you should be paid. You cut into that Seahawks salary cap. I love it. Yeah, pay him. Go ahead. Go give him all that money so we don't have to worry about the other shit. I love it, man.
Well, like I say, you guys have no cap space this year. You guys have limited cap space next year. So, I mean, it's going to be, as far as San Francisco goes, I think it's going to be, you guys are going to have to get very creative in how you get your roster at. But to your guys' credit, you guys always draft well. So your guys, I don't think San Francisco has a lot to worry about. And this is the exact opposite of what I said at the beginning of the year.
Man,
so I'm trying to suck up to you and Niner a little bit, trying to befriend you guys and patronize you guys a little bit based on what I said earlier in the season.
I'm a diehard Niner fan, man. If you could have asked me if their window was opening or closing, I'd say closing, man.
Oh, I would too, absolutely. But I'm trying not to razz you guys right now. I would absolutely say it's closing. I'm just trying to be cool with you guys. Absolutely think it's closing. I think Kyle Shanahan, you talk about a guy that's on a lukewarm seat, and San Francisco probably would never fire him. But I could see a mutual parting of the ways or something like that in the next year or two if they don't get it done.
Yeah, very
but
possible.
That's just me. What do you think,
Is Tua going to be a starting quarterback or not?
Oh, Jesus, Mary. Had to call all three of them.
He ain't going to play for the Dolphins. Probably not the Jets. You got the Raiders. No, they're getting Fernando Mendoza. The Vikings, maybe. The Cardinals, maybe.
You want
probably
my
not the Browns.
Here's my honest opinion about Tua. If I'm Tua, I take whatever money that I have and whatever money that I'm going to get from the Dolphins, and I'm going to take my 4 concussions, 3 concussions, and I'm going to ride off into the sunset. I'm not even gonna bother with this anymore because you're 1 or 2 more hits away from being worse off than worse off than we've seen some players who've suffered numerous concussions and stuff over the years. I just take my money and I just roll. I'm done. Thanks, but no thanks. Or if he's willing to take a backup position somewhere to where the odds of him playing are highly unlikely, like maybe somewhere like Detroit, but we all know Brad Holmes isn't going to do that because of the money. And I don't think the problem with Tua, Prophet, to your point, the dead money is the contract is so high. Even if Miami eats half of it, you're still paying him what, $28 million if you're the new team? $28 million? Are you going to do that for a guy that's probably not going to play?
Maybe not. See, like, part of the thing is Miami just wants to get rid of him, get him off the books, get him out of there. They may pay the whole entire thing and give a player away or a contract. Or, I don't know, a draft position. I mean, seriously, I don't know.
You're right on that. I like that point. And I think we need to kind of elaborate on it just for a hot second, because desperation creates opportunity. And if people can get Miami desperate enough to where, hey, look, if you guys pay 80% of his salary, we'll take him off your hands.
Yeah.
And I think that there's some teams out there, a couple of teams out there that may just be, because you talk about it all the time, the offensive coordinator, I can fix him. Right. And it gets to the point where, okay, at what point they pick 11th? So you're not going to draft a quarterback at 11.
No.
So do you entertain the thought of actually just saying the hell with it and keeping him? It depends on what direction they want to go. You already got rid of Bradley Chubb. You already cut Tyreek. So you're sending, if you keep Tua and he starts for you next year, you're sending a mixed signal to your team and your fan base that we think we want to rebuild, but we don't necessarily want to, even though I think the fans would understand because of the money situation. But Prophet, I haven't seen a team this hamstrung with a money situation over one player in a long time. Can you think of the last time a team player, there was a situation like this to where a team was just so desperate to get rid of a guy with a high cap number but they're awkwardly probably going to have to start him next year, i.e. Kirk Cousins?
Maybe Deshaun Watson. Who knows? He may be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. God in heaven, jeez. McNair weighing in on Tua. Tua going to be a vegetable if he keeps going like this.
That's what I'm saying. That's why if I'm him, I just bow out gracefully. I've made a lot of money. I still got a lot of money coming. Just take what I got and just roll off, man. Just go. It was nice while it lasted.
Idea. What else, McNair got? Steelers, if they can get Karen Rodgers back.
I disagree with that slightly, simply because of the weather. The AFC North, Tua's not built for AFC North late October, November, December type weather.
No.
Absolutely. I
agree.
As Niner elaborates on what you said about Deshaun Watson and that guaranteed contract, but I don't know, man. If I'm the Dolphins, I can't sleep right now if I'm Stephen Ross and company.
I hear you. Really it's rough, man. Bad position to be in. I mean, haven't won a playoff game in like 24 years or something. Like, dude, God. Oh, get it.
Who was Tannehill their quarterback the last time they won something?
Not even, man. I don't think so. I think it was Chad Pennington. Chad Pennington was the quarterback, I think.
Pennington or Henny? No, I think you're right. I think it was Chad. Yeah, it was Chad Pennington. One of the Chads.
I have to look that up. I'm not going to look it up now, but yeah. All right. Food for thought.
Wow.
All right. Let's get to this, man. Big deal or no deal, Prime. This is your time to shine.
Well, I got 4 scenarios here. Big deal or no deal, brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. This is a segment of the show where we present several scenarios to the Prophet, and he tells us if it is a big deal or no deal. One of the things that are kind of eating at me, and I understand why the NFL is doing it, but it still pisses me off nonetheless, are overseas games, big deal or no deal. We mentioned last week that the NFL potentially wants at least every team to have at least one overseas game every year. And as the game expands, and I get all that, but I think it kind of sucks for the fans. The owners lose a home game. But is it a big deal or no deal that we're starting to see more and more overseas game? And I believe, don't your Niners have two? Don't you guys go to Mexico and Australia?
Yeah, Mexico and Australia.
So Is that a big deal or no deal?
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, the travel. I mean, to get to Australia is like 15 freaking hours, man. I mean, this is like out of control. I mean, look, I understand if you want to do a couple of games a year and switch around the teams from year to year, but look, it is a big deal because more and more people are loving the NFL and they're coming to games and they're packing at the stadium wherever they go, whether it's Germany or Australia, like you mentioned, or Brazil or Mexico, London, wherever it is. They are selling out everywhere. So it is a big deal because they're making tons of money. And not only that, are people going to the games, they're buying merchandise, they're buying jerseys, they're buying so much stuff because they love the NFL. They can't get enough of it. So it absolutely 100% is a big deal.
So here's a side note to that. And Niner, I'd like to hear your chiming in on that. And Steve, if you're still out there, how long is it before the NFL puts an NFL team overseas?
God, I hope they never do it. It's too hard. It's too hard to do because even like your lowest flight, your least 5-6 hours to get to London. Come on, don't do this. It's the National Football League, not the International Football League. It's the National Football League. So the players play in America, not South America, North America, not Canada, America. All right, the United States. That's where they play. That's where it goes. Now, maybe Canada might be something because that's not really like, a long travel. Canada, possibly. They got their own league, but to have a team in London, the travel is insane, man. I don't like it.
So the reason I asked that is because you and I both know that one team would lead to 2 teams, would lead to 4 teams, would lead to 6 teams. So I don't think it would be just a one-team thing if the NFL decided to expand internationally. McNiner says 4 to 5 years, but look at this comment. And he said the Cowboys versus the Rams in Iran. That's the comment of the night, man. You win. You absolutely win tonight. That is insane. That's why I was kind of chuckling while you were talking. So
that's great.
Let's see. Number 2. Is it a big deal or no deal that Patrick Mahomes potentially may not be ready for week 1 of the season? And should Kansas City rush him back or just let him just come back organically?
No, it's not a big deal because the Chiefs need to retool. They need to get more players around Patrick Mahomes. They need to, revamp the defense, get wide receivers. They need a running back. They need help at offensive line. They need help in a lot of places. So don't rush Patrick Mahomes back. Don't expect the Super Bowl this year. It's not going to happen. The Chiefs really, really regressed. I don't see them coming back and winning 11, 12, 13 games this year. I don't see it happening. So Patrick Mahomes, take your time. You got a long career to go. You already got 3 Super Bowls. Maybe you go down in history as the greatest quarterback of all time if you can keep doing it and doing it and doing it again. So no big deal because nobody is expecting anything out of the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
And I agree with that. And as they got a couple handfuls. I think they got about 25, 30 free agents that they need to address. But again, a lot of these are, you talk about like Kareem Hunt, Juju, you got who else? You got Hollywood Brown, got Travis Kelce, who might be the biggest question going into next season. I think you said last week that you feel he's going to come back. I was kind of shocked by that. I think right now, I don't know. What else do you do if you're Kansas City? You bring Kelce back and maybe catch lightning in a bottle to where you can win 7-8 games to where you're not a complete dumpster fire. But I think Travis Kelce, at 36 years old, will be 37 when the season starts. And then, like you say, Patrick Mahomes coming off the injury. I think this is a retool, rebuild, and I think Kansas City may have to kind of change the way they do things. Bringing back Tyreek Hill is not the answer, although a lot of people think that that's where Tyreek's going to end up. But I'm not 100% sold on Kansas City being anything, just like you mentioned. So we're in agreement there. And see, I got, let's see, talent or coaching? Which is the bigger deal in the NFL? Because you look at the New England Patriots, not the most talented team. They got great coaching. Right. And then you look at a team like the Lions, who have, good coaching, and they got a ton of talent. The coaching's really good, but they're not that, they can't seem to get over the hump. So what's more important in your eyes, especially in the NFL? Is it talent or coaching? What's the bigger deal?
Well, for the Lions, they lost a lot of their coaching, so that was a problem right there. So you could say coaching, but I'm going to go talent because the players are on the field. They're the ones playing, and coaching is important, like getting them ready for the game, scheming, whatever it may be, putting your best players in the field, all that sort of stuff. But talent is what wins the game, especially at quarterback. When you have a great quarterback, to me, that kind of supersedes a head coach because you have the best player at the best position in the game. And again, a coach is a wonderful thing, and offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they make a difference in the game. But the talent is on the field and the players play. And if they are not doing what the coaches are doing or are telling them, then that's a talent problem. So I say talent is more of a thing on the field.
And I would tend to agree there. I think in college, I think coaching matters more because you're trying to build a foundation. You're trying to turn these guys into potential pros and, the fundamentals, the basics, foundation, any other cliche you want to use. I think once you get to the NFL, especially guys that have been around a couple of years, it starts to become a talent thing, which unless you're Kansas City, because I didn't get a chance to ask you this question. Kansas City, their success is well documented. Is it because they've had a good team? Is it because they've had the best team? Or is it because they had the best quarterback?
Best team, because you factor in Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and, a guy like Chris Jones and players like that. So I think best team, Mahomes, best quarterback, even over Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback, but overall best team, because their defense was integral in part in winning their 3 Super Bowls. Yes, that one against Philly, they didn't show up, but they really showed up against the 49ers. All right, they really did, and I hate to say that, but the defense was a big part of those games, and they really showed up, and when it counted, they did what they had to do. So I would say it's more of a team thing than a Mahomes thing. But Mahomes obviously brings so much to the table.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's kind of a fine line because you look at, Mahomes, he's won Super Bowls, he's great. But now you're looking at Sam Darnold, Drake May, guys that aren't necessarily great that have been to Super Bowls, So it's kind of, I think a lot of times, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of times I think it's just circumstances have to line up for you the right way. Everything changes from week to week. You always say matchups. You know, why did this guy have 150 yards this week and got, -5 this week? So, things change from week to week. But, yeah, I agree. So that was Big Deal or No Deal, brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. Good stuff as always.
Oh, yeah. Always great stuff. Appreciate the questions. You never know what they are, and I love them. And yeah, we went over time today. We usually do that. So we don't have time to get into the notable free agents and, the top players in the draft and, what draft positions may go. So we're definitely going to hit that next week, Brian.
So, yeah, and that if you guys are looking for, like, we're going to start doing our big boards, mock draft, stuff like that. So we're going to start doing that next week. I guess we're going to start – are we going to do this where you want to break it down like position by position over the course of a couple weeks? I know the combine actually started today too, though. So just for those,
right, combine's getting going.
So yeah, but I got my first big board of the year already ready.
Nice.
So yeah, if we can dive into that a little bit, but yeah, definitely want to get into some free agents, and we'll take the top 10 free agents or so and kind of see the landing spots where these guys are gonna where these guys may end up and how big of an impact they're gonna have on their new teams. But like we talked about earlier, I think that Aaron Rodgers to Minnesota might be the most intriguing, but we'll get into all that over the next week or so. But as always, I want to thank everybody for chiming in. Steve O, McNiner. It's always a pleasure to have you guys with us. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on LinkedIn. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube, StreamYard, wherever you get your podcasts and whatnot. And it's, as always, Prophet, man, it's another great show, and I always look forward to these Tuesday nights with you, my man.
You make over an hour feel like just a minute, baby. I appreciate it, bro. Have a lot of fun always and every day, and we appreciate you guys out there. We'll see you on the podcast. Put in your comments and questions if you want. We'll be there for you. We will be back next week with a lot. Free agents, where teams are looking to go, maybe some players, and we're going to have a lot. So the NFL does not die with the Power 32 podcast. We keep it alive, my friend.
Well, subscribe. Tell a friend.
Yes. Tell all your friends, man. And if you don't have any friends, go make some.
Right. Go. That's funny. I like that one.
All right. Power 32. We're out of here. Peace, baby.
Peace.